Hello, and thanks for tuning in today to the Unidentified Celebrity Review. We'll be kicking things off here shortly. We have two of my favorite guests joining us today, talking about the murky history of the government's involvement in UFO community. Today's show is special for another reason, too. The creator of UCR, Luis Jimenez, is celebrating his birthday. And in what can only be attributed to a cosmic synchronicity, the merchandise shop for UCR went public today as well. Of course, if you're a Patreon member, you had an early alert to jump in on these deals. But if not, or if you haven't yet ordered your own Nothing Burger TV shirt or t-shirt, now's the time. It's not often you can buy yourself something you'd buy anyway and be able to pass it off as a birthday gift to someone else. I got myself some nice UCR t-shirt and a new coffee mug. Happy birthday, Lou. Becoming a Patreon member would also be a very good way to show a little extra birthday love if you're so inclined. There's a link below in the description. An August 4th birthday makes Lou a Leo. In this day and age, most people don't really put a lot of stock into astrology, but it turns out the movement of stars in the sky could and might have already had an enormous impact on life on Earth. Schultz's star is 20 light years away right now, but just 70,000 years ago, it passed right by Pluto. If there was intelligent life on that system back then, they may have left some probes to study our solar system. If Schultz's system was barren, it may have collided with rocks containing the seeds for Earth's biology. The near miss could have triggered an explosion of life. In several million more years, humans may evolve over there on Schultz's star, hundreds of thousands of light years away at that point. And Schultz's pass was not a rare event either. It's estimated that around every 50,000 years, a star wanders into our cosmic neighborhood. When you view the galaxy as a perpetual stew of stars, the vast distances shrink. Even without the invention of an interstellar engine, time alone can breach vast cosmic distances. And with interstellar engines, even ships that go just as fast as our current space probes go, recent studies have shown that if you factor in the movement of stars, an expanding civilization would populate the entire galaxy in just 300 million years. So, where are they? That's, of course, the Fermi paradox. And that question gets even more complex when all of our data is filtered through other humans. But sometimes those other humans help make sense of data rather than obfuscate it. We have one such human here in the studio, ready to start things off, where we are lacking one of the two, but your host of the Unidentified Celebrity Review, Luis Jimenez.
Hey, Rather, what's shaking?
Hey, Lou, not much. No Mike today.
No, we're gonna have Mike. He's
Mike, no
joining
Mike
us
right
after
now.
the first hour. Yeah, Mike's working.
He'll be here, and hopefully it's the real Mike.
Yeah, the real Mike will be here with glasses. I don't know. What are you betting? Glasses? No glasses.
I think the real one has glasses. That's
okay.
All I gotta say.
The robotic AI Michael is.
They don't need
contacts.
Glasses.
Yeah, clearly, because they've got perfect vision, robotic vision. Hello, good morning, good evening, good day, good afternoon, and aloha. Welcome back to a very special edition of the Unidentified Celebrity Review, your home for credible news, reviews, and commentary on everything UFO and UAP. My name is Luis Jimenez. If you haven't already, please do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel, share. Sharing goes a long way. Let's see how many folks we can get in here for my birthday. Yeah, it's my birthday. Let's talk about it in a second. But before we do, I want to say thank you to the sponsor, BlueMarlinChronicles.com, purveyors of the world's finest fishing tackles since 1995. And I want to say thank you to DOS Tapes. They provide all of the tunes that you hear on the show. Their Bandcamp link is in the description below. So let's get it going, baby. What do you want to start with first, Rather? Let's start with merch.
What are you gonna say? Yeah, I'm up for anything.
Let's start with merch. But before we start with merch, of course, Rather's already reminded you. Check out all the ways to support the show. Yeah, what were you gonna say, rather?
We got to start with a happy birthday, of course. Happy birthday, Lou. The chat's going wild for you.
I appreciate it. Well, okay, I didn't even. Hello, thank you guys, everyone in the chat for wishing me a happy birthday, and on Twitter, man. My Twitter mentions have been going absolutely through the roof. I cannot appreciate you guys enough. Check these super chats out. Matthew Riot 499 donation says, "Happy birthday, dude! Popping my UCR cherry. What? Excellent! Welcome to the show for the first time. So happy you're here. I'm glad you found the channel. And then we've got Beartooth 18 with $10. Take my money and talk, old man. Fair enough. Let's do it. I will do that. All right. So you guys, it's a really, really fun day today. I was talking to my producer, Alex, and I was like, dude, we've got to get this website going. I got to get the merch going because people have been asking for it. I got to get the Big Phone Home website going because I want to start asking some big guests to join us on the one of 3 days. And I want to make sure that they have a website that they can go to that looks clean, that looks professional, that's attractive, and also gets the message across of what we're trying to do. Wow. Thank you, Jean-Francois Charlebois, for the $69.99 Canadian donation. Happy birthday, boy. Thank you so damn much. I appreciate it, man. Seriously. Wow, this is going to be a lot, really overwhelming, I have a feeling. Christopher Morales, $4.99 dono. Happy birthday, Star Brother. I appreciate it. Seriously, you guys. Oh my God. Stop it. Don't stop. Stop. Okay.
You're appreciated, Leo.
I'm
You're
totally
very appreciated.
Well, I am appreciative back.
Yeah, goes both ways.
Goes absolutely both ways. None are $4.99. Felicidades, Luisito, Akashi, Chris. Thank you so much. Josh with the $10 donation. Happy birthday, Luis. You guys are killing me. I love it. In the best way possible. Know that every single one of these donations goes to making sure this show exists 5 days a week. Every single dollar helps me stay out of my regular 9 to 5 and devote more time to booking guests and doing things for the show. So truly appreciate it. Jordan Mac with a $5 donation. Holy cow, man. Happy birthday there, fella. Loving the show. I truly appreciate it. I see you, Ben. We're going to get you in here in a second. Just saying hey to everybody. Kim Williams. I hardly ever catch these live, but I love UCR. I look forward to it every week. So glad to be here. We are glad to have you, Kim. Thank you, guys. Damn, that was a flurry of just cash flying my way. All right, so let's bring in, because I also want to get Ben's opinion on this store. So let's bring in our friend and also now a sponsor of the Big Phone Home. An official sponsor of the Big Phone Home 2 is Ben Jenkins. He's the co-host of the UFO Garage podcast and is a native Texan, seasoned graphic designer, web designer, product photographer, and soon-to-be dad. Ben has been fascinated by UFOs, aliens, and all things weird his entire life. The one and only Mr. Ben Jenkins from Neo Creative and the UFO Garage podcast. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me, man.
It's an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on the show. And this is going to be really fun because you're going to walk us through the Big Phone Home website, which, by the way, is it live yet?
I just made it live. Yeah, I just saw your
just made it live. Yeah. Excellent, dude. So guys, if you want to check out the website with us, it's www.thebigphonehome.com. Let us know if it works. Hopefully it's up and working. Just to be 100% honest, we are not 100% done with it yet. We still got some things to work on. We're going to go through all of those things with you. I'm going to try and answer as many questions as you have about the Big Phone Home. So get them ready. Donation or not, we're going to try and answer every single question you guys have and what we're trying to accomplish for the Big Phone Home. But before we do that, let's talk quickly about our merch store. So today we officially launched the Unidentified Celebrity Review merch show, and it's got a lot of stuff in here that our producer Alex Garcia helped us design. He helped me design all of the art, all of the shirts, all of the everything. He helped with absolutely everything. And so I'm really proud of the store. We're adding things to it all the time. If you have any requests, let me know. I'm still learning things about the show. I saw somebody's question. Do you ship internationally? Fantastic question. Please let me know if it works because I have no idea. I do know it's Shopify. And as far as I know, Shopify pretty much ships everywhere. So please let me know because I'm learning about this process literally every single day. So hello, Tina Tamazuski, moderator, and also Artemis Prime moderator, the ladies that help us control the chat. So be nice, gentlemen. And ladies for that matter. So a couple of things, first of all, I spent $250 on my own store today. So just you got, I don't get anything free either. All right. People are like, this is kind of expensive. Like the people that love me, my sister, my mom was like, oh, $25 for a shirt, huh? I'm like, that way the margins are very high. What can I do?
If you just want to support the show, I think Patreon is probably the best way.
The
but
absolute best way.
This looks like quality shirts. Like I'm excited to wear these in public and have people ask me about the collection of ships and the Nothing Burger.
Yes. Well, speaking of, let's check out the collection of ships and the Nothing Burger. So this is one of my favorite shirts that Alex helped produce here, and we'll take a look at the ladies' version of it. And so hopefully we can get it in here so you guys can see it. There we go. So that's our Nothing Burgers lady shirt, and it's all UFOs. And if you notice right here, it's 2 buns with sesame seeds and nothing inside of it. So that's a really fun shirt. Pretty subtle. Love the design. That was Alex's idea. Oh man, this is when I saw this, I was like, man, this is killer. Ooh, a Rather bobblehead. That's a fantastic idea. Rather also brought up the idea of tic-tac ties. So we're going to see if we can also get those going as well. So those are 2 really, really, really good ideas. Kim says, love the shirt with the UCR logo. You know, what's funny is I didn't think that was going to be the most popular one, and people seem to love the UCR logo a lot. I was kind of surprised about that. So let's check that shirt out. This is the one that everybody, I guess, yeah, we'll just do another ladies version. But my mom was even asking for this. So yeah, if you want to get a V-neck ladies shirt, I heard that ladies like V-necks. If you don't like V-necks, let me know and I'll try and get some regular neck shirts. More variety in there. Just tell me what you guys want and I'll try and add it as quickly as I can. But just trying to do the best I can. First time we've done the shop, as you can see, our virtual model here. Her name's Tiffany. Really nice girl. Look,
I have a question about is the Nothing Burger in reference to the June 25th?
It's just in reference to how everybody, yeah, they like all of these big revelations. There's always a part of the community goes, it's a Nothing Burger, or it'll probably be a Nothing Burger. So we're like, let's make fun of that. You know, let's have fun with it. So that's where that one came from. But good question. Good question. We've also got, there was another really cool one that sort of has the same vibe, and that is the sport model shirt. So this is based on Bob Lazar's sport model story about how he saw the sport model in the hangar. So this is the shirt here. And you'll notice it's almost like a Where's Waldo thing, but here in the middle, there's a little sports car and it's got a familiar face driving. I can't zoom in any farther than that, but again, another fun little subtle shirt.
I didn't even notice that. I thought that was the same as the Nothing Burger. I might have to go order another.
Make sure you look at the titles of these shirts because some of them look the same, but they're not. So make sure you're paying attention because there's some fun little things. And here, the one thing that I really liked about every shirt that I made, and let's see if we can find another one with a bigger. So this is like one of my favorite things as well. This is our Tic Tac UFO design, and it's like this is a sticker that you can buy
so much, bro.
Right? I love this too, man. This is kind of like our polo emblem, and I put this emblem on the tag of every shirt. So every shirt, every hoodie has this little emblem on the tag. So definitely make sure you pay attention to the tag.
Is it that the Tic Tac, is it full of water and there's a dolphin in it? Is that
controlling it? Yeah, that's the theory. That's the theory of the Dolphin Empire. You know, this is all Jazz Shaw. This is all just like inspiration from Jazz Shaw and his Dolphin Empire theory. And so this is, when we were talking about, how can we design this? How can we make it simple? How can we give it, but still be cool, So this is what we came up with, man. And I hope you guys got it. We have different color variations of this. Not in sticker form yet. This is the only sticker form one that we have, but yeah, this is hands down my favorite thing that we designed.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
I want a big
one. It's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, I want a big. Well, what do you mean you want a big one?
Big sticker, like to put on my wall back there, dude.
I ordered the biggest sticker you can get, which is a 5.5 by 5.5 inch sticker. I'm planning on putting that bad boy on my scooter, and I ordered 2 of them. So I'll find another spot for the other one.
Just find one of those like those RVs that are like just beach bums in California, right? You're in California, right? Like just find one of the RVs that are on the side of the by the beach. They don't care. They want more stickers. Just put it
right.
Exactly. Put one on there.
Exactly. There you go. What were you gonna say, rather?
I forgot. But Alien Girl is asking who designed all this awesome stuff.
So it was me. It was myself and Alex, our producer of the show. So yeah, Alex is helping us design a lot of these things. We do have a designer that we go to. We give her our ideas, and then she executes our vision. It's top secret. Cannot give you that person. It's absolutely. We could talk behind the scenes if you're really interested in some designs. We can point you in the right direction. But that's like, yeah. she's all I can tell you is she's awesome, and she does amazing work. This is just weird, and I loved it. This is one of the designs that she came up with based off of just some conversations that we were having. So I like to call this one Eyes for Tic Tac.
It's bouncing off your heart chakra, man.
Yeah, there's no real explanation to this. It's just weird. Okay. It's just weird. It's just my face shooting laser beams to a dolphin Tic Tac filled with salt water and a dolphin. There's no real, if you like weird stuff, that's what we were trying to do. So yep, that's it. That's all I got on that one. What do you guys think?
Dude, I love it.
Too weird?
I'm reading into this. I think that you're somehow involved in these Tic Tacs now through some sort of lightning power.
Okay, well, that's an interesting theory. I mean, if that's where you want to go, we got all sorts of colors to you guys. So I tried to make them as fun and funky as possible.
I agree with Rather, dude. What's all the secrecy about? What's the motive, man? Like, are you attached to these?
Yeah. In a way, just emotionally. We of course got our. These are also, I think, really, really cool. They're very subtle. They're not super flashy, but again, sort of going with the polo insignia, but instead of a polo insignia, it's our dolphin Tic Tac, and it's just on the shirt. Just real simple. I thought this was super cool. Again, like if you guys have suggestions, especially in the Patreon's a great way to throw some suggestions on what more you guys want to see on the merch end of things. But yeah, again, just a whole bunch of different colors that you can get in this shirt. So, a lot of variety, you guys. And again, we're going to be adding stuff all the time to the store. And then I guess this is the one that I thought was really cool. So this is our original Big Phone Home poster, and it comes in a whole bunch of sizes, 8 by 10, 12 by 16. I ordered a 24 by 36 today. I just out of pure curiosity. First, I wanted to hang it behind here because it's the first Big Phone Home poster. It's got a lot of sentimental value to me. It's not cheap. It's $125 to get it framed in this size, and I wanted to make sure that it looks good. So that's why I ordered one. If it's not up to par, I'm going to take it off the store and try and get a better file in there to make it the best print quality possible. But somebody already got a poster. It wasn't as big as this one, but it looked really, really, really good. So also, just so you know, before you go crazy and buy this poster, we're going to be having posters for the new Big Phone Home, the Big Phone Home 2. They're going to be posters for that as well. So we're going to be adding those to the store in the next week or two once the design is completely finalized. And then at the end of the event, we're going to have versions of the poster with everyone's names on it that decided to partake in the event and lend help and lend their voice or however they decided to help. So that'll be a lot of fun too. The most popular thing, what do you guys think it is so far on the merch store that's been selling? Like, anything that you guys were like, oh my God, I have to have that? Or it was just like, no, this is all terrible, Lou.
Dude, it's the sticker, man. It's the dolphin.
You dig the sticker. I dig the sticker too, but believe it or not, this enamel mug is the most popular thing to sell. This guy right here. This is the one that's the hotcake seller. Everybody loves this one.
Yeah. I love the logo. Like it's like retro. I see why. Like your color palette and the logo is on point. Yeah, I love it.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I think I got the other mug, and now I might have to get two. Actually,
Well, yeah. Well, I added a mug this. I think it was this morning or yesterday morning. Let me check out page one here real quick. I added this dolphin mug here, sort of the same thing, same enamel mug, but with the dolphin. This is a blue dolphin Tic Tac, so this one's a little different, just different color. And We're going to be having more of this color popping up too as well, guys. So again, if you like the colors or you want a certain color on a certain shirt, just try and let me know. I mean, a lot of these things are they're hard to put together. All these combinations, versions for ladies, women's, kids. Let's see here. Yeah, there was one more mug I wanted to show you guys, which I dug. Maybe it's a page 3. Yeah, this guy right here. So this is also just a cool, dolphin mug, Dolphin Empire mug. But yeah, this would be cool, right? On a tie, rather. Something like this, right?
Yeah, I love it.
I agree with you, man. I'm going to, as soon as the show's over, I'm going to see if there's any ties in that store. And if so, I will add it. But yeah,
you'll have at least one sold.
That's the story. I'll get at least one out of somebody. That's the story, you guys. So that, I'm just excited. I know some of you guys have been asking, not a bunch of you guys, but a lot of you guys have been asking about the merch store. And so there it is. I hope you guys like it because we put a lot of work into it. It was a lot of fun to put together. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, what other designs we come up with. And yeah.
I will say, man, I've been in website building for a while in e-commerce, and you did it well. Whatever you're using, I don't know what it is.
It was a basic Shopify account, I thought it was like, because we were looking at somebody to design it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, let's see what it looks like, just basic. And it looks great. It's totally clean. It's simple to use. Yeah. So
sometimes like the easy answer is the best answer, man. It's Occam's razor, dude. Like,
indeed.
I'll say if you want to put on another thing that will just get one sale only, how about this I Love Midwest t-shirt? I'll buy that.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, yeah. I think we're gonna get we'll see. Well, I'm sure we'll have a Midwest something. I don't think I could use his name, but because he doesn't even want to do the big phone home. Speaking of the big phone home, it's just hilarious that he doesn't want to do the big phone home. I mean, we're asking for more information. You figured he'd want it. I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't want it, dude. Maybe he's being paid by the CIA to be a
okay.
debunker,
So real quick, can you send me the link, Ben, to the big phone home? Because I want to make sure when I put it in the website, it says that the connection is not private.
Oh. What? Uh-oh. Here we go.
Let's see what happens. Maybe we crashed it.
It's working for me.
Okay. Is it?
I put it in the chat there.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, there she is. All right. So let me pull this up. Hold on, you guys. Just be patient with me.
That would be embarrassing.
That would be very embarrassing. All right. Just pulling it up, you guys, right now. Give me a second. Sorry about the delay. But is there anything you guys see on the shop? I mean, but brother, you said you already paid, you already got something? You said
yeah, I got the Nothing Burger shirt, the one with the little UCR logo in the upper right, and the UCR mug. All great purchases.
You're the man, dude. You're the man. That's why I love you, rather. No, wait, I don't want to share that. I want to share my screen, man. I want to share my screen.
What's e-commerce? Oh, you said you're using Shopify.
Yeah, with Shopify with I think a Printly. The Printly is what we
Printly, okay,
is what we designed it on, and then the Shopify is sort of like the main site. Okay, so here it is, you guys. Thebigphonehome.com. Jazz Shaw, thank you so damn much for the $50 donation. Happy birthday, Luis. No message other than asking everyone to shop and support the shows. You're doing important work to end UAP secrecy. I truly appreciate it, sir. There's a man who believes in the cause. He's been here from the start, so I truly appreciate it. Truly. Thank you, Jazz Shaw. Okay, you guys, so this is the bigphonehome.com website. As you can see, site is still under construction. We're still adding and doing things. But Ben, this is sort of your baby. I gave you sort of a vision and what I was looking for. So let's walk through it a little bit. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
where do you
man.
want to start?
I just really love your approach. I mean, normally, well, I guess I was watching your show and you're saying like, hey, we have a meeting with a developer tomorrow and working on the website. It's been kind of like, an issue trying to find funding to do this thing. So I
Right.
was like, dude, Luke, I build websites for a living. Can I just do it for free? Just offer my time, donate my time, because I really believe in what you guys are doing. I mean, last year when you hit us up about the big phone home, and man, thank you so much for just having us be a part of that UFO garage, me and Joe and all that. And man, it's a great event and cause to like donate your time for. So I thought, well, why not? So yeah, I'm really excited about this thing, dude. It's
Well, I really appreciate that, man. This is some kind words. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's exactly how it went down. Ben just offered to build a website. I don't know how you found out. I think you just, I guess I had posted something, or I was just frustrated with something.
I'm a fan of your show, dude. I listen to your show.
Yeah, you were listening. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, for the big phone home, the first one, it was just me. Like I had to do everything. And at one point I had to reach out to Mike and be like, Mike, please, dude, can you please help me just put anything together, any kind of website? And he did the best he could. We put a website together, and the logistics of it were just a little more difficult to use. There was a lot of work put into it, but we're not web developers. We don't know how to do these things. So it was a little clunky, and that's why for the first big phone home, I was pushing the UAP Act Now website so hard, because their infrastructure on how to contact your representative was 3 or 4 clicks and you were done. And so that's what I wanted to make sure we had for this big phone home. But not only that, but we're gonna separate it into 3 different categories on how you can get in contact with your representatives, and we even added a 4th category if you really want to go crazy. So we're gonna get into that right now. So thank you for putting in the time. Thank you for now being a sponsor of the show. So Nito Creative is your website design company, right? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, man. I started my own company. I kind of went off on my own. I've been a part of like just these, corporate gigs forever. And I just decided to go on my own and tried that for a year. And it's really hard starting a business. So
Yeah.
I do have a day job now, but I do this on the side. So man, it would be my dream to just do this full time. But in the meantime, I like to help out my friends. And, when people need something, I like, hey, let me just do that for you, because I know how to do it.
Yeah. And just FYI, I mean, we were trying to figure out, man, because Ben offered to do it for free, and I'm an artist, I'm an actor, and the most frustrating thing to be asked is to do somebody's project for free. It's frustrating.
Well, for me, it's
not. No, well, I'm just saying, like, especially if you've been in the business for 15, 20 years and you're a professional and you're used to being paid to go back and do something for free, especially if it's like 3 or 4 days and it's 8-hour long, 10-hour, 12-hour long days. Like, that's a huge commitment of time. And that's more than a favor. You're working for free. And nobody should have to work for free. So, the idea was like, okay, well, what kind of solution? And by the way, if you're looking for a website, Ben gave me like 14 different solutions and price points that he worked with me on, where he's like, dude, we could do this. It could cost you this, like $15 an hour, as low as, and then, and then if he wanted him to do it soup to nuts, he's got a price for that as well. So he can work with you. So if you are looking for a website, highly recommend to check out Nito Creative and Ben Jenkins and what they're doing over there. And it's why we offered Ben the sponsorship to the show, because the last big phone home, we had 10,000 plus viewers for the first stream. And it's a great way to get somebody's business in front of 10,000 eyeballs. And I think this year is going to be even bigger, and we're doing it for 3 days. So all 3 days are sponsored by Nito Creative. You guys are going to be hearing that name a lot in the next month. So that's what it is. Nito Creative is our sponsor. He designed our website. It's Ben Jenkins. And if you also love hilarious UFO podcasts, go check out his show, UFO Garage with Ben and Joe. So, all right. So Ben, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this thing. So first of all, it's a free 3-day event. You don't have to pay a dime to come to the Big Phone Home. I think this is a really big plus to the show. Are we accepting donations? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Are we going to be pointing people to our Patreon? Yes, absolutely, 100%. But if you can't support in those ways, you could subscribe, you could like, you could share the show, and those are amazing ways to help support the channel. So just know that the entire event is free. All of the discussions, everything. All you have to do is click the link, and you're there. So that's the beauty of the event. It was something. Who was it that says it? It's Ryan Sprague, right? You said, Ben,
Yes.
that says.
I love what he says. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, tell me what he says, because it was you pointed it out.
Yeah, at the end of every, or maybe on his breaks, he goes, "This podcast is free to consume, but it's not free to create. So if you would like to support the show, become a patron and all that." I just love that concept. Like,
yeah. So it's the same idea here. This is taking a multitude of hours to think about and then put together and execute. We're doing 3 days, September 4th, 5th, and 6th, 3 8-hour live streams. So we are giving you 24 hours of UAP discussion with podcasters, UFO enthusiasts, experiencers, journalists. We're going to be talking to retired veterans. We're going to be talking to active military members. We hope to encourage to get a couple of senators to come on and join us. That would be fantastic. We would love to get Christopher Mellon and all of these guys that are voices and that are advocates for congressional hearings. That's what we're asking for. That's what we're going for. I'm sorry I've ignored this $100 donation, NMUAP underscore UAP, $100, dude. Thank you so damn much for the donation. I cannot thank you enough. And then I see another one here.
I'm gonna donate it back to you, Lou. So
dude,
just keep it.
thank you. I do appreciate it. And then we got Mitcha68. Thank you, UCR team. You're doing great work. Happy birthday, Luis. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And by the way, guys, I didn't plan to do all of this on my birthday. Pure dumb luck that I picked this day that I wanted the website and the merch store to go. Honestly, did not plan that, but hey, it's a nice little surprise. Anyway, so where was I? So we're asking for congressional hearings. That is request number one. We've got not only Lou Elizondo, we've got John Greenwald on board, and I haven't asked John Greenwald yet. So maybe he's watching. We're kind of asking now, but he's in on the Big Phone Home. He's definitely going to be joining us. What I would love him to do for us is to write a script, write a request to Congress for us, and we're going to have multiple scripts for you guys. Rather's writing a script. I'd love to get John Greenwald to write a script. We've already written a script to submit to Congress. And the idea is that you can use all of these scripts as letters that you can mail. You can use them as emails. The idea is to make the script different every time we send it, because we don't want the AI in Congress to filter out the message to only one. We want them to see this demand for more UAP transparency in congressional hearings in many ways and formats. So that's why we're having multiple scripts. Ideally, I would love Christopher Mellon to help us write a script as well. So that way, when you guys start clicking the email to send to your local state representatives, all of you guys will be sending different scripts, different requests. But the number one request on all of these, the commonality for all of them, will be congressional hearings. That's what we're asking for. That's what we're screaming for. That's what we are demanding. So we ask you to join us September 4th, 5th, and 6th, which is a Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's a Labor Day weekend. Again, it's a free event. We do have a video here that explains what the first Big Phone Home was. We're going to be updating this, and we're going to be making a new video. It's going to be hosted by me, Mr. Rather over there, and Mr. Michael Mataluni. We're going to have a couple of appearances by Ben here, because again, he's our sponsor. And of course, I hope Joe joins us for some format of discussion.
Oh yeah, We'll pop in for sure, dude.
For
We would
sure.
love to, man. Like, can't like not be a part of this thing, dude.
Exactly. Well, dude, I appreciate it. So we've got a section of speakers. So far, people that have committed, and honestly, I've been getting a lot of requests. I haven't responded to all of them. I've responded to some of them. But these next 2 weeks, my main focus is getting really high quality guests to join us and come discuss and help others motivate normal citizens like you and me to pick up a phone, write an email, tweet at a senator, whatever you want to do to activate yourself is what I'm hoping all of these guests have in common. That's the common ground for all of us. That's how we did it the first time. What can we unite on? We all have different ideas about what the UAP topic is, what it could be. We all have different theories. Sometimes we argue about these things, but for 3 days, I'm asking you to put your personal stuff to the side and come up to the common ground of congressional hearings. We all want congressional hearings. All of us.
Hard to disagree with that.
How can you disagree with that? All of us want congressional hearings. So that's the neutral ground. That's the dinner table we're all sitting at. And we're going to, in one voice, ask for it. You know, we can't just sit here and do nothing. Like Lou Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, Sean Cahill, David Fravor, Alex Dietrich, all of these people that have put their reputations and their names and their careers on the line to give us this story, to give us this what's a picture, a peep of what might be happening behind the scenes. And they're asking us to ask from our representatives for this information. So that's what we have to do. And that's what this effort's all about. And while we're doing that, we're going to be having discussions. We're going to be having different perspectives. We're going to talk. We're going to try and cover all gamuts of the UAP phenomenon. So that way nobody is underrepresented or underrepresented. Excuse me. Do you guys have any questions so far?
Sounds amazing.
I
don't have any questions, Youth. I'm really stoked. We talked twice today, and each time we talked, we were kind of like working out the direction and how we were going to make this as easy as possible for people to do. And I just love that conversation. Like, as a visitor last year, like, hey, so what is this thing? How can I make an action? Obviously people that are watching the show care about this topic, and to make it easy as possible is kind of the goal here, right? Which I think you leading that direction and me getting with my few people that I'm working with on the back end, trying to figure out this form and making it as easy as possible is really exciting to make it more like, it's not going to be a one-click thing, but it's going to be less than 15 clicks, which that's been kind of the norm for so long, you know?
Yeah. Well, especially on my last website, it was a lot more than 15 clicks. That's for sure. But real quick, you had this up, right? This $4.99 donation from Jason Fay.
They're just rolling in as fast as we can show them. We had this one earlier.
Oh, okay. All right. So, hey, have you thought about a UCR Clips channel? Best clips from this great show. Any other way to promote? Love you guys. That's a great question. That's something that it's incredibly difficult to do with the time crunch that we have. It's something that I want to start doing, but I just don't have the hours in the day right now. I've got to, if I didn't have to, a full-time job, absolutely. This is one of the things that I would love to do. And that's why we're trying to build the channel. The more we build the channel, the more you guys share, the more you subscribe, the more you like, the more you get the word out there, the more I can do stuff like that. So trust me when I tell you it's a discussion we've had. Jason Fay, thank you so much for the $4.99 donation. Get Ross Coolheart on board. We need some international love for the big phone home. We are working on this. Ross was supposed to be on next week, but because his book isn't in a print form, he wanted to push back our discussion to September when the paperback becomes available in the US. I'm trying to I know he's in on congressional hearings. He's heard of the big phone home. I just put in a request for him. I told him what days that we're doing. I was waiting for this website to get done so I could also send him this, but I've given him the dates. I've given him the initiative of what we're trying to do. So yes, I'm 100% on board with you. If you guys want to tweet out Ross Coldheart to try and get him on board and get his voice in on this, 100% absolutely, because the man is just a nugget of wisdom. I've already been listening to his audiobook and it's phenomenal. I'm like on chapter 4, and I try to listen to it, a little bit of it every night, because I want to get that whole book in before he comes on. And yeah, there's no paperback or hardback cover version of it yet, so that was the only option I had, but worth the buy. So definitely check it out. Let's get this audience up to 500 people. Promote it on your social media outlets, folks. Please, let's do this. The next Big Phone Home could push us over the edge. I think Jazz is onto something. What do you got, Rather?
Yeah. I mean, I think that stuff like this is kind of what takes the movement out of the fringe and into like a real political movement, right? Like, it's we need to mobilize, get together, and make an impact. And I think that's what we're trying to do.
I think that's why you will not find one image of an alien or a UFO or something quote unquote woo-woo, because we're trying to attract senators, congressmen. That's who we're trying to convince, because those are the people with the power to get what we want, which is congressional hearings. So we can't bring our personal stories. We can't bring our personal conspiracy theories or thoughts or knowledge. We have to ask them for once, make it as simple for them as possible to understand. And that is, Mr. or Mrs. Senator, Mr. or Mr. Congressman, we want congressional hearings. We want them now. As a taxpayer, we are entitled to this information. We're entitled to it. Remember that. And we're going to politely ask. We're requesting. We're not demanding. We're requesting. And so the verbiage of our different scripts, of our different what are we calling them again, gentlemen? I'm losing the word.
Yeah, our email templates.
Email templates. Templates is the word I was looking for. So our templates are going to be different, but they're going to be respectful. They're going to be as professional as we could possibly, whatever verbiage it takes to make sure that a senator or an aide, more importantly, is going to read it, possibly click on the website, maybe even join us to talk to us for 5, 10, 15 minutes. I would love to get Marco Rubio. And trust me, we are going to galvanize you guys day of, because we're going to also try and get some of pressure these folks live to come talk to us day of. So if we can get 10,000 people tweeting at Marco Rubio, hey, check out the Big Phone Home on YouTube, giving him the link and telling him to join the show, we can get a Marco Rubio on here to talk about it and maybe get some more nuggets, get some more information, get an idea of where these congressional hearings are, and what he thinks about what we're trying to do, because we need to get the word out there. And we've got 30 days. We've got 30 days, 23 hours, and 40 minutes until this event kicks off. So between now and then, it's all about getting the word out on this, you guys. It's all about using the hashtag. If you look at my channel or my Twitter, which, by the way, my link tree is down below, you can find all the links for everything: merch, YouTube channel, Patreon, the Big Phone Home website. I'm going to be adding to there, so it'll link straight to this. Everything you can find there. So that's what we're doing, you guys. That's the mission. Congressional hearings. And so that's what we're going to try to do. So let's get to this part of it. Do we have any other questions here, rather, that are popping up? Did I miss anything? I just don't want to miss it. I thought I saw Max Moskovich in there.
Oh, Max.
Oh, there he is. Hey, what's up, Max? This beautiful man. And we're going to get Max. Dude, he's killing it, man. The interviews he gets is just out of control. And by the way, we're going to be, I've got some stuff for Jazz to do too. Jazz is, I'm hoping, I haven't talked to him yet, but Jazz is a very well-connected journalist. So him trying to get some folks on board that have a legitimate voice and interest in this topic, I'm going to try and see if Jazz can help us do that, because I know he's helped us get a lot of folks on this show. So and he's done a lot of stuff behind the scenes he's done so much stuff behind the scenes that you guys have no idea about. And he's a good dude. Bricktop with a $5 donation. We got to fight for the right to Congress. I love it. I love it.
We gotta get the UFO Garage Band, and then we could sing. That could be our intro music.
We should write the lyrics to it, dude.
Oh, dude, you're the writer, bro. Sheesh.
Paisley Wave, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Truly appreciate it. Next time, please say something. You're gonna pay the money, baby. Okay, so let's talk about this right here real quick. So this is the part of the website that is not complete. We're hoping to have it done by early next week, Ben. Fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure by this time next week, it will be fully functional in the way that we had discussed. Please explain, because it's such a great idea. I love it.
So the idea is to call, write, tweet, and activate yourself. So the idea of this first box is you're going to click it. Okay, and it's going to say find your representative. You're going to put in your zip code, and it's going to give you all of your local and state representatives that you can. What did I say? Did I say right? Yeah, right. Yes. Okay, so you can also it'll give you your representative in your state and local district, so you can call them. Okay, you could call them, and you could also physically write them, and then this will also send them an email, right?
So the first part is just like defining where you are in your relation, because your initial idea was let's do general congressman, but it would be awesome if we can do something local to reach someone on a local level, which I thought was amazing. So I'd love to just incorporate as much as possible of your ideas into that section. That's step one. So finding who you're going to be communicating with, and that leads to step two, hopefully.
Exactly. So then step two is make a phone call, right? So calling your representatives is a very effective way to speak to your representatives. If they don't answer, it's cool. Leave a message. Not sure what to say. No worries. Click the button and you'll see the script below. I'm not sure if this part of it's working yet, but again, we're working on these templates to put in here. So when you click this, you'll have 4 or 5 different things to choose from that you can say in a message that'll be clear, concise. You don't have to be nervous. All you got to do is read, so, and that goes a long, long way. Making a phone call, it's called the big phone home. So ideally, we would love for you to pick up the phone and make a call. And so this find your representative is going to be the first step in making your phone call. The second step is to write an email. And then again, we're going to use the exact same templates. And then when you click on this button, this is going to give you a link to send one of 5 or 6 templates to your not only local and state representatives, but all of Congress and all of Senate. So everyone gets this message, and it's not the same message every time. There are going to be different templates that you're going to be able to choose from. Or what are we discussing, Ben? Do you think it'll be automatically chosen for folks, or do you think it would be possible for them to choose their template?
Man, I maybe we leave it up to the chat. It's we could do both. We could do a randomly selected, generated based off of the IP. Or we could just do hey, let's lay it out. What flavor are you feeling today? We could do both.
Right.
Whatever.
We're just trying to make it easiest for you guys. So the less clicks, the better. So I'm thinking it'll probably just generate a template for you guys, and then you just email it out. Boom. And it emails everyone for you.
Yeah.
Go for it, Ben.
The idea that there's probably some type of filter that's set up that's looking for keywords or string of words, much like teachers look for plagiarism on papers in college and high school. Right. So, which is kind of shady, right? Why is our government doing that?
Right. But it kind of makes sense, because they want to make sure, look, if there's 10,000 people sending the same message and the AI says, hey, there's been 10,000 emails with this message, okay, at least 10,000 people took their time to do it. But if they've got to sift through 3 or 4 different emails and different numbers on those emails, but they're all in some way or another asking for the same thing, I think it gets more attention. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind it. So
without creating an AI program to do everything in one click, I feel like we're going to get to it. This is where we're still in the workshop phase, right?
Right.
And okay, how do we get around that? Should we recommend starting the conversation or the email with something personalized? We recommend something.
Yeah.
That's
Well, here's the thing, right? Is through this first step or the find your representative step, you can do both. You can send the mass email that'll generate the thing for you. Okay. And then, well, this is actually the fourth step. Let's get to step 3. Step 3 is send a tweet, right? It's going to be sort of the same vein of send an email where it's a 2 or 3 click thing, and you can email or tweet all of Congress and all of Senate and any government official for that matter. It's gonna tweet all of them. We're gonna write different sample tweets. So again, it's random, it's different every time. So these are gonna be the 3 easy things you can do. Very clickable, very shareable, very simple, to make it as easy for you guys as possible. Because look, we know you might be a mother of 3, right? You love the UAP topic, but you don't have time to spend 3 hours or 8 hours watching us live stream, let alone 3 hours or an hour devoting your time to contacting local and state representatives. So these 3 tools in your tool belt, you'll be able to contact folks on 3 different levels very, very quickly without a lot of work. Okay, so you'll be able to stay active and go back to your life without taking too much time. And it's something that you'll be able to share with people. Now, there's a 4th step. Okay, and it sort of encompasses all 3 of these. If you want to get really, really, really detailed, we're going to have a list of committees and subcommittees that you can find the members of through our system here, okay, and individually go to those people and either write them with your own personalized letter. You could use our template and change it however you want. You can request whatever you want. Exactly, sort of like a Mad Libs version of the script. That's exactly what essentially what we're giving you. We're giving you the script, and then you guys can change it however you want. We do request. I can't force you to do this, but we do request. Don't put your personal stuff in there. Don't put your research in there. Don't put your website in there. Don't put any of that stuff in there. Try to keep it as professional and as respectful as possible. And I think that's how we're going to get the response we really are looking for. Again, the goal here is congressional hearings. So whatever you write, just make sure you start with that. You want congressional hearings.
Like, hey man, I caught a big old bass last weekend, just to let you know. And also I would like to know, like, maybe not introduce that to the
exactly. Exactly, man. Exactly. So, of course, it's going to be hosted by 3 adorable men here. Myself, Michael Mataluni, and Rather Be Squidding will be joining us for the festivities. We're discussing a lot of things. A lot of things. I don't want to give too much away because some of these things I haven't asked people to do yet, but just based off early and very frequent transactions and interactions with them, I have a feeling they're going to be totally on board to help us do these ideas that I have. I know for sure that we're going to have on the first day, we're going to have a Canadian hour. So we're going to have Canadian researchers, Canadian voices joining us for at least an hour on the first day. I would love to put Murderers Row back together for the first day, which would be UFO Jesus. We had Jeremy Corbell, we had Danny Silva, we had UFO Joe for Murderers Row. I'd love a redo of that and maybe a longer version to just sort of let that roundtable breathe a little bit. We are going to open the last hour of every single show. So anybody who wants to call us or join us live face to face, we're going to be taking all of your calls and all of that stuff for the last hour of every single show. So if you want to be involved in the show on some level, everyone's going to have an opportunity to put their voice, their stamp on this show. And if you want your name on the poster, just reach out to me, and I'm going to make sure that we try and take down every name we can and include everyone's name. The only thing we ask is, hey, show us your support. What are you doing? Are you calling? Are you writing? Are you tweeting? Are you, even just promoting the website, talking about us every day, using the hashtags, just being as active as you can possibly be in this mission? earns you a spot on the poster. So if your question is, how do I get on the poster? That's a great way to start. Just promote the hell out of this. Tag me in everything you can. Use the hashtag #TheBigPhoneHome2 wherever you can. Those are great ways. And then, just ask me, hey, can I get my name on the poster? I've been helping out, or I've been calling, I've been tweeting. I'm not going to check your work. I'm just going to believe you, and I'll put your name on the poster, and we'll update it. And then by the end of the entire event, like I said, we'll have a fully updated posters. We're going to have multiple posters for each day with multiple names. So don't sweat it. We're going to get all of that in there for you guys. I want you guys to feel as included in this event as you possibly can. Ideally, also, we're looking to do a full ladies hour, like at least an hour, where me and Michael leave the stream, and it's going to be nothing but women. We're going to try and have as many lady voices as we can during the entire 3-day event. UFO Jane's going to be joining us here in the second hour of the show, which is in a couple minutes. She's definitely going to be hopefully a huge part of the female voice in these 3 days of discussions. So don't worry about that, ladies. I'm going to make sure that your voices are represented in this big phone home. That's a really, really big concern of mine. It's something that I've got a lot of focus on, and we're going to execute as best we can on that. Let's see here. Who do we have? Artemis. Okay, cool. So Artemis, if you want to pop in here, we're going to do the result for the poll here in a couple of minutes. But do we have any questions? Rather, did you see any questions in the chat here about
everyone
about
is
the big phone
questioning?
home?
Everyone is questioning the photo of Michael Mataluni there in the middle. Doesn't quell any rumors of multiple mics at all.
This one's got hair. This is like an upgraded version of the TM1000. We'll just call it the MM3000, the Michael Mataluni 3000. Yeah, that's hilarious.
But no, yeah, I love the site. The site is a delight to use. I love how everything kind of spins and pops up. Like, it's a amazing, fun to use site, and this is a great purpose. I got into the unidentified celebrity review from the first big phone home. Like, I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing, Lou, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Hey, man, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you found us through this event, man. It's look in the mirror time, man. It's gut check time. Do you or do you not want answers on this topic? If you do, we have to ask for congressional hearings. And I know a lot of folks are going to be pessimistic out there and go, well, they're just going to lie to us and give us bogus information. If you're lying under oath in congressional hearings, that's an arrestable offense. So when you've got a inspector general looking into this, and a lot of other things, minutiae rolling in different areas of the Defense Department on this, lying at a congressional hearing would probably not be a good move. So that's why we're fighting and asking for this. So, join us. It's going to be a really fun 3 days. And again, we're not charging a dime for this, not a dime. We are taking donations, of course, but we're not, this is free for everyone. So that's something that I'm really proud of. And I hope everyone appreciates, like it's a lot of work behind the scenes to make this happen. So yeah. Did you see, does anybody have any questions about the big phone home? Now's a great time to ask. Just throw it in there with a full caps, and rather will be on the lookout for it. In the meantime, let me close this out. Let me just hit up Stephen Greenstreet real quick. Make sure that he remembers to join us.
What about the Europeans?
Yeah. I think the only kind of recurring question is the other countries want in.
They're in. We're going to have Portugal represented there. One of the members of ICER will be there to represent Portugal. Again, we're trying to get Ross Coldheart to represent Australia. That would be great. And of course, the gentlemen and all the guys over at UAP Media UK, Shadows of Your Mind magazine, the Signal, Graham Rendell. Trust me, the UK will be represented. We're going to have Vinny from Disclosure Team. Max Moskovich will definitely be there. So I promise you there will be a great representation from the European aspect of things. So don't sweat that. If there's anybody else out there, I know Baptiste Friscourt, who was on the first Big Phone Home, a French UAP journalist, one of the best out there in France. Of course, I'll be inviting him. I haven't invited anybody basically yet, guys. So if you're out there and you're in the UK, and you're like, man, I wonder why Lou hasn't reached out. We've just been busy, been getting the website and the merch together. Want to get all that straightened out before I invited anybody. So start expecting some invites coming soon. So if there are any other countries out there that feel they want some representation in this discussion, please get at me. I know I haven't reached out to the Undead Gaucho yet, and he's in Argentina, so that'd be a great voice again to include on this. So yeah, man. Let me see if I can find Michael.
I was going to ask real quick, Lou, if anybody knows of any publicly accessible APIs to governmental databases for European or any non-North American countries that we can include in the form as we, this whole thing is evolving, right? Like as we were discussing today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, like, yeah,
hit us up.
Send an email to Lou, and you're in charge of this whole thing. Just let me know how I can help.
You can send emails and requests to the bigphonehome@gmail.com. Send all of your questions, emails, requests there, or ideas, especially the requests that Ben just had. And I could pass them along, make sure they get to the right spots. All right, so we've got Michael is here.
Oh, snap!
Michael Mataluni is here. Hello, Michael. Welcome.
Hello. You couldn't even. I love how you just brought me in. You didn't even make sure I was camera ready. You're like that. Yeah. He's scratching his balls. Let's get him in here.
Yeah, let's get him in here. Enough's enough. You've been gone for the first hour. This is bullshit. I had to sit here and explain this website all by myself, basically.
That's BS, and I'm sorry.
But all right, so let's get into this. We got Stephen Greenstreet waiting backstage. So let's bring him in here as well. Just in case you guys do not know, okay, you're living under a rock. Mr. Stephen Greenstreet is an award-winning filmmaker, video producer, journalist, and relentless conjurer of wild ideas. He's a director of 3 feature films, 2 TV shows, and 4 short films, has a sold-out premiere at Sundance, and was a video producer and brand manager for the U.S. State Department and Georgetown Law. He's currently living in New York City and a writer on the New York Post, Mr. Stephen Greenstreet. Hello, sir. How are you? Are you?
Hi, guys.
You're not in New York, are you? It's too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's New York.
Just like
all the palms.
Yeah. I can hear the subway and people yelling. Yeah. Okay. Busy life you got there.
I'm in California.
Dude, we got to hook up, man. We have to hook up. Like, I have to say hello to you in person. Just shake your hand. Okay, so before we get started, we just got UFO Jane in the stream. So let's bring her up here as well. Miss Jane Kyle, how are you today, my lady?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good.
Yeah. You okay? Is everything good over there?
Yeah, it's good. I have headphones and I'm trying to prevent the echo issues from streams of the past.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
Let me ask you this. Do you have your mic on?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
I do.
All right, give it a try. Because I saw you the other day on another show. See if you can get closer.
Okay.
See what happens. Let's just test it.
Okay.
Check. 1, 2. What's going on, Mike? What's going on, Jane?
Check.
Let's see. It's a little low. Jane.
Okay, shoot, darn it.
That's all right.
Yeah, sometimes if you go to the cam mic settings, it might be the StreamYard. You have a different input set too, but we can definitely hear you.
Okay, so while you're figuring that out, Jane, we'll get it. Don't worry about it. I'm not that concerned. You don't sound crazy terrible. Real quick, let's say because I know
a hell of a comment. You don't sound crazy terrible.
Crazy terrible. It's just a little low. I'm saying from an audio perspective. So real quick, I just want to say goodbye to Ben Jenkins because I know he's got to get out of here. Sir, thank you so much for stopping by, explaining the website, designing the website. Again, you guys, if you need a website design, check out nitocreative.com. Ben Jenkins is your man, as you can see by the Big Phone Home 2 website. So again, keep an eye out on it because it's a site under construction. We're going to be adding things daily. So thank you so much, dude, for stopping by.
Absolutely. Happy to help, man. I'm excited about this whole thing, and thank you for having me on, and see y'all later.
Hell yeah, my man. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Okay.
So now not only do people think that that Greenstreet's an imposter, they also think that I'm an imposter. So we have 2 imposters, and they're calling him Stephen Mean Street. Stephen, what's going on?
Why are you Stephen Mean Street? All I want is just a twirl of the mustache now. That'll be just perfect. Okay, so
This
all right,
is gonna be
before we
fun.
get into this Mirage Man review,
Yes.
let's real quick. We haven't even reset the room, but let's bring in Artemis because we had a poll going, and so I'd love to hear the poll results on today's poll. So what's going on, Artemis? How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're doing well, doing well. Okay, so how's the poll looking today?
A lot of people voted today. Very happy.
Excellent.
So the question today was, what reveal were you most excited for? 10% said merch. 27% said the Big Phone Home 2. 48% said Stephen Greenstreet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then 15% said the Dirty Rich Doty review.
The dirty rich. All right. Okay. Well, Stephen Greenstreet, you're the people.
Kind of hit it off. Yeah.
All right. So let's get this review going. Let's do it. All right. Well, thank you, Artemis, for the poll. I'm going to see if I can think of a new one to put up, but I appreciate you helping us out.
No problem.
Right, we'll talk soon. Thank you. Okay. So where do we start? Okay, so Steven just saw Mirage Man for the first time about 2 weeks ago, less than that. Michael just saw Mirage Man for the first time last night.
Yes.
Rather's working on reading the book. Jane, what's your status with Mirage Man? You've seen it, yeah?
I saw it, yes.
Okay, excellent.
On very quick speed today.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I did a little brushing up myself too because I've seen it 3 or 4 times. Okay, so I guess Steven, let's start with you because you're the person everybody wants to hear from. What did you think of Mirage Man? What was your your initial takeaway? Why did your brain melt? I can't remember what you said on Twitter, but it was something along the lines of your mind got effed 4 ways from Sunday, something along like that.
Yeah. So I'd put it off for a while because in the periphery, like the Doty thing just seemed kind of out there a little bit. Like it didn't seem it didn't seem like something I needed to invest a lot of time and resources into for now. But there was one day and I was looking for a documentary to watch because documentary is like my favorite genre. And Mirage Man came up, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch this. And like, I'm watching this, and I was like falling off of a cliff because, I've said on your show a couple times, the Pentagon is lucky that everyone is talking about UFOs. It almost seems like has the Pentagon lost control, or is everything we're observing right now actually them in control? And this is all part of a big counterintelligence disinformation thing. I've been thinking about that. And then when you watch Mirage Men, it's like exactly that. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, like they're saying the things that I've been saying like lately. There was that guy from the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. And he says it. He's like, if I'm in charge of making sure a top secret aerial project is secret.
That was Walter Bosley, by the way.
Okay. And I turn around and I see everyone talking about aliens and UFOs. I'm like, hell yeah.
Perfect.
And perfect. And I was like, oh my God. Right. Exactly. And then, okay. So the first 2/3 of the movie, I had like alarm bells going off, like ding, ding, ding. With Doty talking about, releasing portions of disinformation to push people and distract people in certain ways to keep something else hidden. And I was like, yeah, okay, that logic, I could see that happening. But then in the end, like when Doty's all like, I'm a believer now, man. And like, he's coming to UFO conventions and he's, I'm one of you now. I was like, no. Like he's still doing it.
That. Yeah.
No, he's still doing it.
I know he is. I don't understand how he gets to do that. I don't understand why he gets invited to the conventions. I don't understand why anybody is trusting anything that comes out of this man's mouth because he literally killed a guy. I mean, he drove a man to kill himself.
Yeah. Well, see, I was starting to question even that. I was like, wait a minute. Is he just a LARPer? Like, is this guy, his military documents are online. Like you can see that he was, involved with the government and the military, but is everything else that he's saying, is he just LARPing? Is he just making a lot of this up? And I went after the film to try to see if I could confirm, where he was, where he said he was, or, X, Y, and Z, because it's so preposterous. The story that he tells, making that like scientist go slowly insane by feeding him UFO garbage, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, no way this actually happened. There's just no way.
Well, what's funny is at the beginning of the movie, the guy's like, okay, so with the UFO information, 80% of it is bullshit. 20% of it's true. Now, we just not going to tell you what's what. And I think that percentage still continues today when it comes to anything that comes out of that man's mouth. And so you got to really be aware of that.
You know what that reminded me of is when I interviewed Tim McMillan after his February 2020 piece on ATIP and Elizondo. We got to talking about Roswell, and Tim said, this is on the video on Basement Office, he said, I was talking to intelligence folks, and one of them told me 70% of what you've heard about UFOs is false, or 20% of it is true, something like that. It was very similar to the Mirage Men quote, where it's like we release some truths and then we mesh them between two lies, essentially.
Right.
That's how disinformation, that's exactly how they wield so much power with that disinformation. That's why that's how you drive somebody insane. That's literally how you get somebody to kill themselves, because you give them just enough that they can prove, and then wham. Man, it was something. And the question that was spinning in my mind was, this 20% that is true, obviously we don't know which 20% it is, but if we did, would it be extraterrestrial, or is it purely things we're creating that we're 30 to 40 years ahead of the public on?
Man, I don't know. Good question. And obviously you even have to question that, is them saying that part of that falsehood,
Right.
It's like they don't want to completely discount it. They want to give us all some hope. Here's 20%. Here you go. Have a 20%. And then we clutch onto that 20%. And we're like, oh, at least 20% of it's true. I wonder which 20%. Right. And then your mind starts doing probably what they want you to do, which is like thinking about all these other things, besides the fact that China is flying spycraft off the coast of California.
Jane, I want to throw it to you. What are your initial thoughts on the film?
Well, I would kind of ask a question. Is there anybody else besides Rick Doty who we could point to as being a clear disinformation agent contributing to things like, people going crazy? Like, is there anybody else besides Rick Doty who we could point to clearly?
That's a good
From
question.
The film, or what?
Period.
Oh, you're wondering if there's anybody else that we suspect is doing this currently?
That we have any documentation or
proof. Is there any other version of Rich Doty that has been caught doing the same thing? Now, I wonder.
Now, was Rich Doty caught, or was he self-admitted?
Well, that's a good question. I guess what happened is when this guy killed himself, people were like, well, he was talking to Rick Doty, and the guy was sending letters to the White House with Rich Doty's name all over it.
And his son was reaching out to Rick Doty saying, leave my dad alone. You're destroying him.
Yeah. Also, I was going to say, I don't know if there's anyone in particular to answer Jane's question that is doing the exact same thing with UFOs, but I'm curious if there's other aspects of the military where the same kind of strategy is implemented to hide something or to cover something up. For example, Pat Tillman. That was a massive lie on how that gentleman died. And we were given this heroic, rah, send more money and military and bodies to Afghanistan story. And then we find out later he got killed by friendly fire. It was, and they lied about it, so it's, Yes, I think to answer your question, Jane, I'd say yes. Rather, I know you had something to say. What was it?
Kind of along those same lines is that we know the government has done probably worse things than this. Like, the whole stories about giving people LSD in hotel rooms to try to get
MK
secrets
Ultra.
out of them. Yeah, that. And there are rumors also of alien abductions being, perpetrated by U.S. government. I think that's some of Stephen Greer in his latest documentary. I don't know how much weight to give that, but there are at least rumors of other Doty figures out there.
So rumors of other Doty figures, and Tillman, is there Pat Tillman? That was the witness, right? Do we have the people behind it? Any names? I guess is kind of what I'm getting at.
Well, there was Bill Moore.
Go for it, Steve. Go.
There was Bill Moore.
Oh, yes,
so
in the documentary, yeah. Bill
yeah,
Moore.
in the documentary, Bill Moore, admits like openly feeding Paul Benowitz false information. I think even while he was in the mental hospital. Like he was visiting the dude in the mental hospital, I think if I remember correctly, and giving him false, like pushing him even further to the edge. But no, that's what the Air Force Office of Special Investigations guy said. Bosley, he was like, yeah, this is something we want. This is something that helps us. This is something that, makes my job easier, is when people are looking for UFOs and looking for aliens and things like that.
Yeah. Well, there's just this pattern, we have Roswell, it's a perfect example, right? We talked about that last week about all like the rumors of witness intimidation and things like that. And then you just go down the line of, a government cover up, an effort to lie about the phenomenon, whether it's the Phoenix lights and getting the mayor to joke about it on national TV, things like that. So we know that there are Rick Doty-like figures, throughout ufology, like starting in 1947. And as much of a villain as Rick Doty is, I don't see anybody else exposing these figures or coming forward really besides him, or actually naming names and exposing things like cattle mutilation, possibly being, looking into the effects of radiation, so that would just be the only. I think this is a very serious issue, and I think it's actually more important than whether or not aliens are real or visiting, is what has happened to witnesses in the past, and vindicating things that they've said. And I just don't know who else is exposing this.
Can I bring up another quote from Mirage Men? And I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have it exactly. I shared the quote on Twitter, but when this was spoken, I was like, another head spin. The guy says it's almost like certain individuals are selected by these shadowy figures. They're picked, and sometimes they're not very bright, but they're very energetic in getting the message out.
Yeah.
And so they like really kind of focus on that person, and because they know they're going to get the message out, but they lack critical thinking. And then the second thing they said is even on the inside of government, they tend to hone in on folks within the government and nudge them. That the exact quote was, they just nudge them out into the UFO world. And then the quote from the movie says something like, and they just let them muddy the waters themselves. They just kind of like find someone within the government and then just give them a nudge. And then that person, like a Roomba, just like a Roomba, they turn it on, set it down, and it just kind of like goes. And so I don't see it as like they're out there like actively every day. They basically seem to find people to do their jobs for them.
Right. People who are maybe a little disorganized or a little, they lack certain intelligence. And to your Roomba example, have you ever seen when a Roomba hits the dog shit? Like that's, This is exactly what's happening.
That's a muddying of the water for sure. Damn. Well, okay. So what do you think? Do you think that's what's happening now? Do you think that strategy is still being implemented when we're talking about the 2017? Do you think there are people being used? And when I say people, I mean like a Lou Elizondo or a Christopher Mellon. These are not dummies. Do you think these are guys that were just nudged in that direction? Let's talk about it. What do you think?
I have no idea, and I have absolutely no, solid, concrete reason to doubt, their bona fides or their, legitimacy or their passion or anything like that. They're believers. Well,
Right. Yep.
That's obvious.
That's obvious.
They are UFO believers.
But
That's
the
obvious.
question is that belief being abused, and was it
Right.
abused from the beginning?
No, the government is very, very, very conscientious of that, and I'm sure they respect that. That they wouldn't do that at all. Sarcasm.
Was it sarcasm or just muddying of the waters?
Yeah.
But there's definitely very clear lines you can draw between Luis Elizondo and Richard Doty, right? They both
Yes.
are, come from the same background, and presumably they could be doing the same sort of thing. There is one big difference, I think, in between what Doty was doing and what Elizondo is doing now, and that's Doty and the whole kind of trying to build up the UAP, the UFO stuff into the community back then. That was they wanted it to be a fringe movement. They wanted it to be able to say, these crazies out here think there's UFOs, but they're really not UFOs. They're just crazy. You can dismiss everything they're saying. And they wanted that for two reasons, so they could cover up their airplanes, and also because there was a sentiment that if the U.S. is too susceptible to UAP, to UFOs, if the Soviets did attack, the public might misinterpret that as a UFO attack or something. So they really wanted it to be fringe only, and now it seems they're trying to make it mainstream. So.
Yeah.
There's also it seems like different motives.
Oh, they definitely are different. Also, Richard Doty never he was public, but not like Lou Elizondo's public. Like he's not going on CNN and ABC and Fox at 60 Minutes and doing the shot where he walks with his backpack through the park. It's way different. But it has a similar taste to it, it's almost like we're eating at the same restaurant, but we have two different dishes, but the dishes have one similar ingredient, I don't know how to explain it. It's a scary proposition. Jane, what do you think?
Well, what's interesting is Lou Elizondo, one of the the only speech or real long thing from Lou that I ever listened to was his speech at UFO Congress.
Yeah.
Which was really rallied everybody, and that UFO Congress was in this documentary as a go-to for Doty and, other figures. I don't think there's any escaping the narrative or the disclosure plan, whatever you call it, because it's bigger than any of us. Who knows what they really know, right? Whatever position in government you're at or podcast you have, nobody really knows what they know, even if you're an abductee or a contactee. So you're just you're going on whatever files have been given to you, whatever briefings you've had, whatever sightings you've had, and then you're adding your own intuition. So ultimately, it doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, come down to what does Rick Doty know versus Elizondo. It's just, who are we trusting here? Who seems to have good intentions? And I do think Doty's past is extremely dark. But I would just keep pointing out that he is exposing that part of ufology. I don't know how much Elizondo has done to do that as well. I don't listen to him as much,
Well, Lou
but they're both, they're both kind of, I guess, sharing different parts of the narrative that we probably should listen to.
Well, Lou did say, because I asked him about Richard Doty, and he's said on a few different podcasts, because he's gotten that question before, naturally. And his thing was Richard Doty was operating way outside of his jurisdiction. And if you look at his career, the thing that proves to you that he was doing that is he never got promoted. He never got a promotion in his career. So if he was doing good work, why didn't he get a promotion? And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But I mean, when I throw that reasoning at you, what do you think, Steven?
Well, think about Leo DiCaprio in The Departed. Officially, he didn't work for the police department anymore. They went up to him and they said, "You no longer exist as a police department. You now, on paper, it looks like you're this other guy." When really, in reality, you're this. you're this real person, but you're going to go and embed yourself in this community, and you're going to get information and intel and plan information, you know. And so when I hear something like Doty was never promoted, well, maybe that was the point for people like us to now go look at his paperwork and go, oh, okay, case closed. You know, he was never promoted. Well, maybe that paperwork would never see the light of day, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, so with Lou, what's fascinating about Lou is he's counterintelligence. That's his whole career.
Right.
Same as Doty, right?
His whole
Doty was counterintelligence as well. And
the point of counterintelligence is to do stuff like Doty did. Maybe not to that extreme, but like that's what you're hired to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
that's what you're supposed to do.
But that doesn't necessarily mean lying, though, right? Like, it means influencing the public's opinion, and that could be through telling truth.
But has Lou, and he may have, I'm really asking you guys as more of experts than him, has he shared some of those things he did in counterintelligence with us?
He's shared a few. Like, he can't give specific missions or anything that he's done specifically, but he's shared where he's worked, who he's worked for. Where
he was in
at.
Afghanistan.
He shared he was in counterintelligence. I mean, I guess we know that, right? That he was in counterintelligence.
His job was also at Gitmo. His job was also to extract information from terrorists or potential terrorists. So they thought. I think at the end of the day, we have to remember, and I think everybody agrees with this, the government is going to do anything they can do to obfuscate and to muddy the waters in order to keep the public from either going into crisis mode or for gaining information that could be leaked into the hands of the enemy. And this is exactly what Doty was hired to do, and this is exactly the sort of thing that even in Elizondo was hired to do. Do I think they're different? Probably. I mean, I get a very different sense of Elizondo from Doty, but at the same time, going back to what you say about the government, I mean, I was listening to Radiolab this weekend, and they were talking about the Fugo balloon bombs from Japan in World War II. I had never heard of this in my entire life. And Japan was literally sending sending balloons into the jet stream and dropping random bombs on the West Coast, and nobody knew about this. This was completely obfuscated from the public. They sent over 300 balloons with bombs in them, and they completely hid it. I have zero trust. I have some major trust issues because they'll do anything they can to obfuscate, and
Yeah. Okay. So, well, let me just say this. Because I said this on the show before, but I want to say it again. So, it is what's happening now. From the outside looking in, it looks like the people are taking back the power. It looks like we're finally holding feet to the fire to the government, right? We finally got the leaks coming, the truth's coming out, whistleblowers, everything. It's that moment in Scooby-Doo when the gang pulls the mask off,
Right.
and the guy goes, I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. And it's fun to think about that we're all
the meddling
part of
kids.
this movement, and we're breaking down and pulling off masks. But is that what's really going on? Do you think, UFO Twitter and ufologists and everyone right now is really holding their feet to the fire, the government, that we've got them in our grasp? Finally, after decades of cover-up, we got them. Is that what's going on? Or is what's going on part of the play?
We're playing our role.
Plan? Yeah, I said on a podcast, I guess 2 weeks ago, I said, I am often uncomfortable jumping on a bandwagon because I don't know who put that bandwagon there. It could be the Pentagon that put it there. And I don't want to go on that ride.
Yeah.
Well, what if that ride is towards actual disclosure?
That's a big what if, though.
Okay, well, that's where questions come in, because if it is heading towards disclosure, basic questions should be able to be answered. And my experience as of late is that they're not able to be answered. And that's a big red flag.
That's a fair point. I will say that the Socratic method on Twitter sometimes doesn't work that well. But
Yeah. Well, it should work. If you're hitting up nationally renowned experts who are on CNN, on nationally televised programs, who are publishing books, who are proclaiming themselves to be experts, and they're releasing information via Twitter, and they're asked a question, if they can't answer it, or won't, it's telling. It's a red flag.
Yeah, no, it is a red flag, and that's a fair statement, because especially for the last, I'd say, 2 weeks, I've been keeping an eye, especially on your Twitter feed, and it's just been asking really hard questions to people that are providing data, and then they can't answer simple questions on the data that they're providing. It's frustrating, and I can see it in you. I can feel the frustration coming through your Twitter account.
Yes,
and it's like, are we all madmen? Like, well, what are we doing here? Like, why can't you answer the most simplistic questions of these videos or these phenomenal things that we're claiming?
What can I in a maybe this is a non sequitur or a theme change, but I think it's related. One thing I noticed, and I always notice this, but I never said anything about it. But one thing I'm noticing lately is that the evidence, if you can call it that, is like everywhere in the most random places. Like there is no like aggregated location, for example, on the Belgian UFO wave of like 1989. You can't go to like one place and see all the evidence. Like you have to like go search, and I'll ask a question like, oh, this photo was a hoax. Does anybody else have any hard evidence? And people will go, well, here's this Italian 1972 or 1992 news piece, and it might show a clip. Oh, I found this in a random, GeoCities blog from the aughts. And it's like, why is it splintered? Why is all this stuff kind of all over the place? And
it's because there's no UFO MB or database, right? I think some people are working on it, but God, man, imagine the work of doing that.
Well, yeah. I would love that. I'm almost lusting for that, where it's like I want to go to one place, and it's like Belgian Triangle, videos, photos, documents, eyewitness testimony. It's all like right there in a file. Mm-hmm. And then when you click on those, it says, critically, this is semi-confirmed. It's not fully confirmed. This is confirmed, where there's like an analysis. It just seems to be like all over the place.
There was a website that used to do that, and I almost don't want to say it because I have no idea what's on there now, and it was so fringe, and it could be so offensive, guys. There's a website that used to do that above topsecret.com. And
I know that website.
But but I don't go to it anymore. I got banned years ago multiple times, because the thing is whenever you would post anything good on any UFO sighting, that thread would disappear. That you would get banned. Like it was kind of tricky. So I would say that could be one reason there's not a great database out there. One out there is Mutual UFO Network, which I'll just say is increasingly hard to access unless you're a MUFON member. Every year it gets a little harder. So that would be and then New Fork. But there's gatekeepers for MUFON. So
right.
Yeah. I just think it's such a glaring need, I think, now in this community, because I think it's so piecemeal now. I think people find a video and they'll present it, and they'll just be like, look at this, it's this thing. And there's no real context. And I almost feel like we need to really start gathering and aggregating all the data and all the evidence that's out there, and try to put it in an easy, findable place, instead of putting it on a TV show, like putting it on a place, on a database, because people like me, I want to see that stuff. I was reading Leslie Kean's book for the second time, and in the part about the Belgian Triangle, she talks, it's like a whole page about like the photo and of the triangle, and how there seem, analysts look at it and they seem to see a force field around it. Like it's almost like electromagnet, and it's like these little snow things around the sides. And I remember the first time I read it before I did the basement office, I was like, holy crap, there's a force field around it. There's a freaking force field around it. Oh my God. And my whole, I was just like, this is crazy. And then I just recently really dug into how the photographer came out and said it's a hoax. He built it with styrofoam. He found the original negative and was like, here it is, I faked it, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait, so what else in this book is based on something that is actually a hoax? And so I was looking around, and I couldn't find hard evidence for the rest of the Belgian Triangle stuff. I mean, there's radar data, but what's the story and context behind the radar data? Right. On the record and officially? You know,
No,
we
that
need
stuff
that.
is no. It's hard to find. It almost needs like we need a great library of information and a record keeper for this stuff and a way to fact check the information. But I mean, damn, isn't that every topic? Isn't that COVID? Isn't that
you could do that? Yeah.
You could do that with almost any topic.
Wiki UFO or
what
something.
I try to do with Texas, and I have some maps I'm working on TBD. But go ahead, rather. But none of you are in Texas, but for anybody who's in the live chat, watching in Texas,
Texas is a big state, so there's probably a lot of stuff to deal with there. But I think part of the problem here is that UFO encounters really haven't been taken seriously historically, right? So we don't have the same sort of historical people looking at it and logging evidence and keeping that for the record for us. So I don't think that there's much hope of ever actually coming to a consensus on a lot of these past issues. But I do have a lot of hope for the future with, things like Galileo Project taking things seriously going forward. And I think it's going to be kind of like a line in the sand with UFO incidents. There's going to be UFO history and then UFO events that are maybe even actionable that are yet to come.
That's kind of where I was going to go. I don't know if you start the conversation with it being not real, but you start the conversation with these things are real. Here's the videos. Here's the guy who ran the program. Here's this. Here's that. Here's this. I know that the government's really smart, but do you think they had the intention of an idiot like me to start a political movement that is demanding more or congressional hearings? Like these are, did it intend for the head of astronomy at Harvard to start a project looking into the topic scientifically? I mean, I think rather it's kind of hitting on something where maybe this is an intentional road to get to disclosure. It's going to be in their time frame. But I mean, the question is why do they do that?
It depends on, and that's an interesting question that was asked earlier in the chat, was what are their motives? If they are obfuscating, what are the motives? And I think it's a case by case basis, right? So when you talk about potentially at Roswell, there's every possibility that it was a Soviet spy balloon that crashed down. And as we were talking about earlier, you point to it and you go, holy shit, aliens. And then the government's like, oh, the journalists just did our job for us. Fantastic. We don't have to make up a cover story. Aliens is perfect. Now the Soviets are not going to find out what we're doing. And so this is the problem, right? And it's like, how do you get to the bottom of anything? And to the other point you guys were making about, a road to disclosure, maybe there is a road to disclosure. Maybe this is what they're doing. Maybe they do have an end game to get us there. What the outcome of that is and what the truth is, I still don't think any of us really know.
No, go for it, Stephen.
What happens when people start complaining to Congress? When a mass of constituents start reaching out to their representatives and saying, why aren't you doing something? Do something. What usually happens is something happens, right? So that's how we got the original DOD IG complaint, members of Congress saying, what the hell's going on at the Pentagon? It's how we got the UAPTF. We don't have the UAPTF if it wasn't for like public demand for it, And so, but what's the outcome of that? You need money. You need funding. You need the UAPTF, in the report, it says, hey, we need more time. We need more resources. We need more money. And if in fact,
that's a good thing though, right?
Well, yeah. Or was it the goal all along? I mean, the Pentagon is always, there are cutbacks and there are like budget constraints and there are budget submissions, whatever. And it's like, how do you get the millions and billions of dollars that you want? For example, I'm just going to spitball. Okay, I'm just going to spitball. This is completely unfounded.
Speculation, go.
Speculation, go. So, foreign adversary spycraft have been flying with impunity over U.S. airspace and off the U.S. coast, buzzing our Navy ships and buzzing our pilots, military pilots. Now, the Pentagon, because they're big budget, big threat attitude, have always been preparing for big threats, big money, big technologies, big planes, big bombs, things like that. They didn't really prepare their F-16s to battle a 4-foot drone or et cetera. And so they're like, oh crap, like we gotta upgrade all of our stuff, our ships, our planes, our everything, and we're gonna need a fuck ton of money to do that. How do we get that money without admitting that Russia and China have been doing this for years on our watch? How do we do that? Like, because in order to get that money, we have to establish the need. How do we do that without screwing ourselves? And because heads would roll if that was ever discovered. So how do we do this? Oh, it's like, oh, I know how we'll do this. It's like UFOs. That it's like the money rolls in, the money, and then it's used for that purpose.
Have you ever, Stephen, have you looked into the actual budgets? I know, obviously, we have a lot of upgrading to do in the military, according to the Pentagon, but is it, such an extraordinary, but we already have such an extraordinary budget going to the military. Is it not already within the military's budget to get these things done? Are you suggesting maybe this helps them to get it done faster? I find the money argument difficult to believe because we already invest so much money.
We invest, but we waste. We waste so much money. I'll give you another example. So you know what the LCS ships are? For example, the USS Omaha is a LCS, Littoral Combat Ship. They're those weird triangular, stealthy-looking Navy ships.
Yeah, they're like useless.
Yeah, exactly. They've been a huge pain in the ass to the Navy. They spent, I can't even imagine the amount of money that was spent to build that huge fleet. The Navy just recently recalled 4 more. They're decommissioning them across the board. They're absolute pains in the asses and huge wastes of billions of dollars just sitting there. I mean, they literally stop moving in the ocean and they have to be like towed, and then they're like their engines stop working. And the idea behind them was to create a AI ship with a minimal crew, right? So minimal crew. And it's just not working. And so that was like a huge mess up. I mean, think about the whatever it was, 23, like that's a fiasco that wasted, I can't probably the GDP of multiple countries on just that one project.
But here's the thing though, right? Is they didn't need UFOs to get those budgets approved.
Which budget?
To get the budgets for those ships and those planes that they wasted billions of dollars on.
Right. Because when you submit for that budget, you submit, I need it for X, Y, and Z. I need it because of this, and I need it because of this. Are you really going to make a public record that says we need it because China and Russia are currently flying over our airspace for the last few years, and we're caught with our pants down, and we need some money to like upgrade our F-16's AESA radar so that we can better track them, which they just did? Are you really going to put that out in the public?
Well, so I have one problem with that. And maybe you can explain this away. But so let's say that Russia or China were observing us. They're looking at us without invading our airspace with impunity, and they know that we know this, right? Or that our military knows that. Wouldn't that put them in a position to tell the media that, like, disclose that themselves to kind of shame the U.S. and get that out there themselves? And so I don't see them really getting around that.
Making it embarrassing for the U.S. I think is a great motivation to do that.
Think about it geopolitically. Think about it globally. Think about it geopolitically. Like if Russia came out and said, haha, we've been flying over illegal U.S. airspace for years. I mean, I think globally that would turn countries on the fence about Russia against Russia. I think that reveal would be very anti-Russia sentiment, globally. And the same would be for China. But the sticky situation is we're doing the same shit to them that they're doing to us.
Right.
We're, if not more. So it's like for every weird balloon and drone seen off the East Coast, we've probably got like a dozen over there, so it's
that's true.
It's a standoff. It's like, if I reveal this, you're going to reveal this. And it's like a standoff. It's a geopolitically. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I think the UAP report the way you're describing it, I actually think it makes more sense if you look at it with the U.S. government showing other foreign governments what potential alien tech we might have. It's like, here's this public report, but we've also got this classified report. Oh, remember Roswell? Don't forget that, kind of wink, wink. I think it actually could make more sense.
Wait, is Roswell in the report?
No, it's not. But
Oh, okay.
everybody's going to talk about it anyways and think about it, right? So it's like, well, if they've got a Tic Tac UFO, do they have a flying saucer, right? So I think if we have this historic race to recover alien technology and reverse engineer it and have the most of it, and every government's not really showing each other's cards, and yeah, I think it actually makes more sense in that way than our own top. I don't know. I think I just don't buy your theory, Steven. Sorry. It just doesn't add up to me to get more military budget. Yeah.
Well, I would. No, go ahead, Steven. What are you gonna say?
No, I don't necessarily see money being the motivation, but I do see the problem. And my current hypothesis is that the problem exists. Yeah. And how would a superpower like the United States deal with that problem? The problem being adversarial spy drones right off the coast of the United States with impunity for the last few years. How do you deal with that? Are you open and public about it, or are you secretive about solving that problem? If you're secretive about solving that problem, you need to come up with creative ways to get budgets to solve that problem. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. And again, going back to so many occasions, MK Ultra, this Fugo balloon, attack from Japan in World War II, all these things are obfuscated. They always lie. They always fucking lie. And go ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, wouldn't that make the lie be even better if it was based on a kernel of truth? If there are actually UAP out there?
Well, if we're talking about UAP as extraterrestrial, absolutely. There's a good motivation to lie to people. There's a great motivation. That motivation is keep people from freaking out. The government, what human beings or Americans and most people around the world look at their government for safety and security. And the more risk there is in the world, the more dangerous that world becomes, and the less they're able to control the population. So absolutely, if there are UAP that are extraterrestrial or interdimensional or what have you, then there's absolutely a reason to hide that from the people. There's also plenty of reason to do it if it's simply adversarial.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, just because I want to transition to a super chat question that we missed earlier. Sager and Jetty said this on his show, and I kind of tend to agree with it. If the military and the Department of Defense, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, if they want a budget approved to get some new toys, and whether or not those new toys are actually been tested and tried and true, and they want to waste a couple $2 billion on ships and planes that end up being an absolute nightmare, I think it's very easy for them to do that. I mean, Joe Biden just increased the military spending more than Donald Trump. By a lot. 56% of our budget goes to military spending, and I would not be shocked if half of that is wasteful BS spending.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know if they need UFOs to get these toys. I don't know if they need UFOs to upgrade the radar systems and these planes and tactics to track these smaller drones. I think they can get that money and do those things without anybody really finding out about it or asking a bunch of questions.
I agree. And to your point, Stephen, I definitely think I completely agree, Luis, and I definitely think you can ask for budgets to defend yourself against the drones that are here and spying on us without telling the public. And you can go directly up the chain of command and ask for it. Say, look, these things are coming. Whether or not you admit that you missed them yesterday in your backyard, you can still say, we know they're coming. We have this data. We have that data. We have this data. They're around. We need to solve this. We just don't have to tell the American people.
Okay. Everyone remembers the 9/11 memo, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't read, that no one acted upon. The memo that said, literally was titled,
yes,
Bin Laden plans to strike America.
Yes.
And use
they
plans,
had
how to do it. Yeah, they had all the info.
I think a lot of what we're seeing is like the modern version of that memo. I think the writing is there, like it's clear as day what's going on. I mean, a lot of this stuff has been exhaustively, investigated, and it's just like, it's not ours. Like every entity in the United States of America that has a balloon or should know what a balloon is and where it is has said it's not. That wasn't ours, and so it's pointing to That's how I feel about it. I feel it's underrated. Budgets notwithstanding, I think the problem is there. All you have to do is read the Navy HAZREPs. Read the actual Navy hazard reports that have been released by the U.S. Navy, what pilots are really seeing, and you're not going to read about saucers, and you're not going to read about Tic Tacs. You're going to read about, literally in the documents, modified quadcopter drone type vehicle, fixed wing, whatever, balloon type, whatever. And it's not once or twice, it's dozens and dozens and dozens. It's prolific.
It's a massive because Lou Elizondo said it too, is that it's this idea that this could be the biggest security miss that we've had since 9/11. And he's right. If we get a swarm of these weird looking drones and they have a payload of anthrax and they fly over Santa Monica Pier, even if only 2 or 3 of those drone hits, that is a massive breach of security. And now the Air Force has got an immense amount of questions to ask. Without a huge problem. And I think part of this whole discussion with the pilots coming out and the videos coming out is to get their comrades to also realize that the things they're seeing, it's okay to report them. We have to start reporting them. We have to destigmatize this because we got to build a better information base so we can develop the things to counteract this problem. And fingers crossed that we can figure this out before they drop something on a populated area from one of these, literally garage made drones. Cause I think that's what's happening is they're just like drones put together with fishing string, toilet paper. And, oh, by the way, we attached an $80,000 IED to it. It's those things. And that's scary as shit to think about. But I also think that there's got to be this diamond in the rough aspect to it. This actual, the David Fravor Tic Tac thing that we're seeing. But real quick, I want to move on because I want to answer this $5 super chat question. And it is, does the panel have any doubt that the U.S. government has created some sort of anti-gravity or electric gravitic propulsion?
It's possible.
I think... Here, you want to hear my speculation, City?
Speculation, go.
What I think might be going down is, wouldn't shock me if in 1947 maybe something crashed. We picked it up, we reversed engineer it in maybe 3 to 5 years. We actually figured it out pretty quickly. And now for the last 60, 70 years, the U.S. government has kept this under wraps because they don't know how to completely implement this type of technology into society. And maybe they think that the repercussions of implementing this type of technology into society would turn around and bite them either through terrorist attacks or another country taking the technology and turning it into a weapon, so on and so on and so on. So instead of releasing it, they've kept it under wraps. And now here we are, 2021, and I think it's possible that a Russia, a China, maybe also collected a crash, maybe also reverse engineered something, and is on the precipice of possibly releasing a craft with this anti-gravitic propulsion system of some kind. And now the United States is being forced, their hand is being forced. They have to talk about it. And who knows, maybe within the next 10 to 20 years, we actually start seeing some of this tech with an American flag and a flight number on it. Because going back to the film that we're reviewing, which is Mirage Men, the police officer had said how one of these orbs flew over his head, but it had tail lights on it. It had flashing FAA lights. And if this is an alien craft from another world or dimension or time, why does it have warning lights on it? So to me, it screamed, oh my God, this is probably man-made. And that's sort of the idea that I got from that share. So I do not put it out of the possibility that the United States has cracked this technology, and maybe they cracked it decades ago. And this whole UFO story is a great way to cover that exotic tech. And it is. I mean, it fits. At least for me, it does. I mean, that's my speculation, City. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I mean, for
I
me,
love it.
Yeah, go ahead, Steven. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I hope that's true. I mean, because that's rad.
Make you feel a little safer, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's like awesome. That's like the coolest thing. That's honestly like the coolest thing you could possibly imagine, is that it's all true and we've reverse engineered something, and like Lou says, within a generation we're going to be partaking of, everyone in society is going to be partaking of that technology. And I mean, that is the coolest, raddest thing. So I hope it's true.
I mean, well, the thing that got me to thinking that is, when you hear Michio Kaku talk about how in 20 years, by the year 2025, I think he said, or excuse me, within 2040, we'll have the technology, the ability to create matter. But the problem is you can't put a matter making machine into somebody's living room, right? Because they could type in bomb, or they could type in handgun, or they could type in something, a knife, something dangerous that maybe they want to hurt somebody with. So you got the technology capability within 20 years, but you won't see the tech implemented into society for another 100 years, because it's just, society isn't ready. They're not responsible enough to just take that kind of tech and use it responsibly.
Can't you just throw a governor on that bad boy?
Well, you would think, right? But you also, I think you need 80 years to figure out how to put a governor on, say, something like a matter maker.
You just put like 12 buttons on it, and they can only make what's on those buttons.
Yeah, but then if somebody takes it apart and hardwires it
sure,
to make whatever they want, you know what I mean? Like those.
Yeah, no, I do.
If somebody's always going to figure out a way to take technology and turn it into something just gross and disgusting.
That's right. But sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the problem with that idea is that you're assuming that the private industry won't figure this out first. And if private industry figures it out first, they're going to look to capitalize on it, and they're going to look to sell it, and they're going to look to create it in a way that it does have a governor on it. Can people reverse engineer things? Sure. It's an interesting point. I'm not sure you can keep it away from the people for that long. Like even drone technology of today that the government had 20 years ago, it's pretty commonplace now.
It's commonplace now, but I mean, I'm saying that drone swarm technology was developed, I believe, in 1995. It was like publicly announced in the late 90s, which tells me, and when we talk to John Greenwald, and he tells us the government's 50 years ahead of our time in some cases when it comes to tech. So let's say if the swarm tech came out in 2000, right? That means for possibly 30 years, they've been using this swarm drone technology that we've seen at the Olympics, that we've seen now use it as advertising to get a Mercedes emblem in a 3D rotation, above a stadium. Like, could you imagine seeing something like that over a plane in Utah or New Mexico, and they're testing these things, and you see it, and maybe they've got some LED panels on it to make them look like they're moving super fast, but they're not. They're just shutting off, and you can't see them anymore.
Yeah, I'm curious, Stephen, are you totally sold on these all being foreign adversarial systems, or do you think that there is still a possibility that they might be ET or something else?
Sure. I believe, and I'm very open about the fact that I believe that there are UFO cases that defy explanation, that are creepy and scary, that I have a trouble wrapping my brain around. The Tic Tac being an example of that. I don't look at the Tic Tac as something that someone built. For now, that's just how I feel about it. Yeah. I don't feel that. There are a bunch of other cases my whole current thing about foreign adversaries are because, Russia and China have a precedent for wanting to kill us, and intergalactic aliens don't really. So I'm like, oh, that should be our priority. Maybe if there's a bunch of these and they're on our shore, and they're flying over nuclear sites, and they're flying over anti-ballistic sites in Guam, like that's where the anger and the effort should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great, is there any different action that we as a collective people should be taking if we believe that it's UAP versus foreign adversarial systems as far as, getting information out of the government?
The big phone home too.
Mm.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think honestly right now, I think what they fear the most is what has happened recently. So 60 Minutes, New York Times, everyone, the media blitz about UFOs, a version of that, but with, adversarial, here's evidence of adversarial drones off the US coast and over US airspace. I think someone would, piss themselves in the Pentagon if that happened. You know, I think that's what they're trying to avoid. They don't want that. They're happy with kind of what the focus right now. And I just want to, I'm comfortable saying that I believe it looks that way, that it definitely looks that way, that that's happening. And I want to do my part to like educate people and just kind of say, hey, look at this, read this. Right. What does this look like? Look at the CIA's palladium, look at the Cold War with, you know, balloons and aviation, and look at today. And yeah, so they just don't want news reports on this, and they don't want masses of people talking about it.
Yeah. Well, look, I know you got to go. There was a couple of things I wanted to touch on. First is, don't get disappointed by this conversation if we're sort of leaning that this is not alien tech and maybe military tech. But if that is the case, it's still really, really freaking interesting if this is U.S. military tech. It's still even more interesting if it's Chinese or Russian tech. So take a little solace in that. The story is still fascinating, and there's still a ton of questions no matter what it is.
Well, I think it's so difficult, as you said, Greenstreet. I mean, it's like, you know, you look at a Tic Tac event, and I'm going, you know, I watched Mirage Men, and I'm going, Jesus Christ, like, this is for real. Like, we've been getting duped about UFOs by the U.S. government for a very long time, and they've been using it on purpose to, you know, to obfuscate, you know, based on actual technology that we have. But you still have Tic Tac events. You have 80 years of history. You have the 1940s when we're seeing, you know, these almost Tic Tac-like shapes back then. Yeah, and it's like, you know, so I'm right there with you, Stephen and Luis. I mean, it's still a coin flip for me, and I think there's a lot of answers to a lot of different questions.
You also have the size of the cosmos, guys. Yeah. So realize the implication. If they have not found evidence of any kind of extraterrestrial visit or contact, you know, since 1947 or pre, that's kind of more spectacular in many ways, especially if we're already coming up with all this awesome tech and sending robots to Mars that have their own little drones, right? So the more advanced our tech gets and the more stars we discover, it's extremely, you know, it's quite likely that we've been visited at least one time. So I would just propose that aliens could be real and visiting, and that they could still lie about those aliens.
Right.
4 years ago, I just want to say that NASA gave a press conference, and they said the time for finding ET life is now. And you don't say that the time for discovering something that we don't know is real or not is now, unless you already know it's real and it's going to be happening. And they were making Mars colonization posters, you know, and all of this. So I do think the phenomenon's real, but I do still agree with Stephen that we have to be skeptical.
Well, we have 99% of other that is not, you know, if there is 1% that's ET, you have 99% other that we got to deal with.
Yeah.
Can I just, you guys all want to hear my woo theory?
Yes.
Because I'm always open to it, and I love entertaining it. And, you know, I posted a video recently that kind of like touches on it, but my woo theory, which is like my personal theory about the weird stuff, is that it's here, and it's always been here, and it's just outside the spectrum of human perception. And because, you know, humans have this hubris that everything that you see is everything there is, and that's absolutely not true. You know, like we see like a fraction of 1% of actual reality. And so we
learned that yesterday. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah. We learned that on Mike's channel yesterday.
Yeah. So my personal belief is that, and this is just my like woo theory, is that I think like right now they're like right there. I just can't see them. I can't hear them or anything. And there is a crossover of whether you want to call it a dimension or a veil or whatever. There's like a crossover or a filter or something like that. But so I am not, my woo theory is not traveling tens of trillions of miles across the galaxy to get here.
Wakanda theory.
It's like here.
Yeah.
It's like Eric Davis says, you know, where he said, he's like, maybe they're hiding in the shadow biome. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? And then I'm like, wait, maybe they are. You know?
All right. So Greenstreet, I've got two quick questions here for you. The first is, obviously you've probably heard of our effort, the Big Phone Home. We're going to be having 3 days where we're getting all of these folks together and inspiring people to call Congress and demand or request congressional hearings. So if you'd love to join us for that day, I don't expect the answer now. I'm putting you on the spot, but if you want to come talk to us on any one of those 3 days, man, we'd love to have your voice and your thought process involved in the discussion, because we're going to be looking at all of it. We're going to be discussing all aspects of it, and I love your rationality, you know. And sometimes, and this is going to be the second part of what I was going to say, because we had Danny Silva in the chat, and I'm paraphrasing something he said, but he was something along the lines of, Stephen needs to read these articles and stop, and I'm paraphrasing, and stop being such a dick about it. And so I wanted to throw that at you because I wanted to get your opinion. I love that you're laughing, so that's a great start. What do you have to say to your critics who think you're a little too harsh, or that the way you are pushing back against this information is a hard pill for some folks to swallow? What do you say to that?
I'll first say that, like, I concede, and I feel no, I'm serious. I feel like perhaps there is a readjustment on how I approach a question or how I approach analysis. You know, perhaps, you know, on Twitter, without being able to talk face to face to someone, it can and will come across as curt and as offensive. And I am completely open to the fact that has probably happened. And, you know, I'm 90% of the time, it's not my intention.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I definitely concede that. So when he says to stop being a dick, like, you know, there's
dude, your Warshak response, though, your Warshak response the other day was hilarious.
Yeah, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Because people are going to see different things looking at the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I said that, but then I think if, and this is an if me asking things like what evidence or where can I find that, or point me in a direction where evidence is, makes me a dick, I'm probably going to keep being a dick.
Right. Right. No, and that's fair. And I think I put this perspective the last time you were here. And I think a lot of folks forget this. You've had an experience. You've seen one of these things. It changed your perspective on everything. And so, but you're trying to hold the information to the fire and meld it into a viable weapon. And what you're getting is not hot enough coals. you can't get this metal hot enough to shape it into a story, into a narrative. And you've put your personal career on the line. You put your whoa, LAX. You put your is that a jet?
Jetpack, man.
No, it's a Navy helicopter.
Oh yeah, that was loud as hell, and I was like, okay. Anyway, but you've put your career on the line to tell this story that is going to put you in an awkward position with friends, family members. They're going to look at you and be like, Steven, so how's the UFO thing going? You know, how you paying the bills, buddy? And you're like, dude, I'm paying the bills. I'm making films, and then you've got to defend yourself, right? Right. Like, because we all do this. So I just wanted to get that perspective from you as well.
Right. And honestly, it'd be so much easier if I just like went with the flow.
Right.
It'd be so much more fun for me to go.
I don't think it'd be anywhere near as fun. That's no way.
No, it sucks.
No way.
It sucks. Like things were more fun. Like 2 years ago, I was more or less kind of like in it. I was like, hell yeah, I'm on board. Like, let's UFOs. And I was like, it was a fun, entertaining, like exciting thing. And then I snapped out of it recently, and it's scientific. Basically, if you're trying to prove a hypothesis, you don't just do it once and walk away. If you're able to repeat the same method and get the same result each time, boom, that means you're onto something. So what I did recently is I went back to the drawing board. I said, I'm going to look at all of this with fresh eyes again, and I'm going to see if I'm led to the same result. Mm-hmm. And if not, and often lately it's not, I'm like, okay, so what is really going on here? So that's where I'm at. I love you all.
Dude, we love you, man. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us the time. And we hope to see you September 4th, 5th, 6th, my friend.
All right, later.
We'll see you. Peace.
Thanks, Steven.
Steven.
I love that guy.
Dude, you got to love that guy, man. He's a great thinker. And I know sometimes he comes off a little jerky. You know, we're
On
not
Twitter.
all perfect. We're on Twitter.
But I
In
say,
person,
the
he's-
he doesn't
Socratic
ever come off
method
jerky
really
on the
doesn't come
show.
across well on Twitter.
No, it
Yeah.
does not. It does not. All right, you guys. Well, we're running about
So
7 minutes over. That was a hell of a fun show. Let's get real quick. I mean, we didn't talk a lot about Mirage Men, but I wanted to get, let's get to these super chat questions real quick because I don't want to ignore those either. The first one is from Lee, $5 or a £5 note. Thank you so damn much, Lee. Have you ever looked into the youth of today? Head first into their phones, not an eye in the sky.
You're
Pretty right on that one.
Yeah, and Lee made another
that's
question,
not youth. That's almost everyone, right? To be fair.
that's
Yeah,
me too.
Lee made another donation earlier asking, saying many science experiments have funding that yield no results. We shouldn't let UFO and UAP funding go the same way. What do you all think? And yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I want them to continue even if they don't get no results. But there is,
Yeah, I want them to get a an $80 million, $100 million budget every year. I want them to really start looking at this. I want a report every year. I want congressional hearings maybe every year. I want the discussion to be had at least twice a year on a major level in front of lawmakers and decision makers. That's what I'd like to see. But Schoolcraft, thank you so much for the $6.90 donation. Bye, Steve, he says. And then Jedi Camper right below, real quick, with a $4.99 super sticker. Thank you guys so damn much. It's been a hell of a birthday. Who's got military planes now?
That's probably me. That's me.
Oh, okay, all right.
So they're coming for me.
They're coming for all of us, man. What the hell's going on? Okay, so yeah, guys. So let's review it. Jane, we'll start with you, my lady. What did you think of Mirage Men? Like, let's just give it an overall score. Like, do you think this is a good movie that contributes to the community, or did it get you thinking in any different ways? Entertainment value, cinematography, all of those things.
I think this was a good one to watch. I do. I think I would give it like a high 8 just because it's a puzzle piece that I think people should add. I think the scenes with Linda Moulton Howe were kind of interesting. I like some of the stuff.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
I like that was kind of just a lot of people talking and not too much of a narrator. But yeah, I think people should watch it.
Okay, so an 8. That's good. Rather, what do you got?
I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's required watching if you're interested in this topic.
Wow, that's a hell of a good score. Okay. Michael Mataluni, this is your first time watching it, so I'm interested to see what you thought about it.
First time watching it. I was actually, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was pretty blown away. Like I knew the potential for disinformation, and this was just kind of one of those reminders, like, don't be, like, I always, I'll go into like, don't be a sucker, man.
Don't be a sucker.
Don't be a sucker, man.
Just make sure you pay attention to the information that's coming out and who it's coming from, where it's coming from, how it's being disseminated. All of those things matter. It matters.
Yeah. And considering as many possibilities as possible, being fully aware how far ahead the government and so many secret and black projects. I mean, these are things we talk about on the show all the time, but like, if you like the way the documentary was presented, it was pretty powerful. And I am always critical of documentaries as well as a genre, because generally they're looking to they've already decided what the story that they're going to tell is prior to telling the story. So I do take that with a grain of salt too, because it is a documentary and that's what documentaries do. So but if you pull the layer off and then it's like the disinformation, and then you pull the layer and it's like, what do you believe? And so it proved that point. It said you need to take everything with a grain of salt. So I think that was great. I give it a 9 out of 10. I I agree with Rather and Jane that it is required watching for folks who are interested in this topic. Question though, did they get Linda Moulton Howe to drink like 3 cocktails before that interview?
She didn't come across as drunk to me.
No, I'm not drunk. Not drunk.
She I mean, she had 3 drinks. I mean, what do you mean she was a little animated?
Sorry, tipsy. Because I just felt like the way she was revealing the information, it would almost felt like gotcha, and she was almost like, a little slow. I don't know. It just felt like.
Here's what I think happened. I think that interview upset her. She was being asked very difficult questions about her work specifically and how her theory, they were basically telling her, your theory is wrong. Like your theory of these cattle mutilations, it's wrong. It's listen to what's going on. Like they had underground bases where they stored these helicopters. These are the helicopters that they probably used and developed to land in bin Laden's compound without anybody noticing 4 helicopters landing in the middle of a compound in the middle of the night because they're that quiet. Now, take that helicopter, attach a cow grabbing device to it and a light board, and you've got yourself UFOs. Right. Especially if you take that cow, you take it back to a base, say use some new weapons that you're trying to develop, right, on these cows to see what happens. Oh, let's cut this bad boy open, rip out all the guts, take out an eyeball, cut the tongue, and throw it back in the field and just drop it there. And it looks crazy and it looks weird. But I bought Linda Moulton Howe's DVD, the Strange Harvest. I watched the film. I reviewed it on the show. The problem with her hypothesis is she's not going back and using modern tech to describe cuts or to look at new cuts and new features, because back in the day, and this was 1976, okay, was that the equipment you would need to cut up a cow like this would be the size of a 2-bedroom apartment. It was just the equipment's too heavy, it's too big to put on an aircraft, but it's not too big to take it to a cow's not too big to pick up with a helicopter, like these are, and so I think that those questions or those things that were put out in front of her, she caught it as, oh, you're trying to make me look stupid.
Yeah,
and if
she
you
definitely
are,
felt,
I'm
yes,
active
absolutely.
here. She
and
felt
they were like,
attacked.
no.
She felt attacked during the interview, and I think she was on guard because, if somebody crumbles her theory, her entire argument is
body of work
gone. Her entire body of work is it's just like Dave Beatty, right? But Dave Beatty decided, hey, I'm gonna come clean with this. This doesn't match my film. My film is obsolete. So, that's the way we're gonna treat this. Whereas I think with Linda Moulton Howe, I think she's seen information that goes against her original hypothesis, and it doesn't jive with her. And so that's just a theory. I'm speculating here. I could be totally wrong, but that's sort of the feel that I got from that.
For sure. And to clear the air here in the chat, I wasn't calling her an alcoholic. I was actually thinking maybe they gave her a couple cocktails to get her talking because she seemed very outgoing. And then all of a sudden, and then they're like, no, we're not. But it was very tense and uncomfortable. And it was interesting to me.
Yeah, no, it was definitely an interesting moment. I got everybody's score, right? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give it a score 2. Man, I don't know if I could give it a 10 out of 10 because that's such a high score. That's like perfection, right? There's some production things that I don't love about the movie. I'm going to give it a 9. I think it is a must watch. If you are into the UAP community, if you want to understand how disinformation is disseminated and how they do it and ways they would do it, I mean, it really gets your mind racing on all of the different aspects on how they could just lie to you. And it's really easy to do it, and it's a must watch. So definitely check it out. It's horrifying.
You got to feel for these journalists who are getting juked, right? And they're building whole bodies of work, whole careers, and then it's based on government disinformation. Like that's brutal.
No, it's absolutely brutal, dude. It's absolutely brutal, and it's.
I did want to share. Sorry, I meant to share.
No, it's okay.
Shout out to UFO Bros who figured out that Rick Doty said the Skinny Bob footage is what he believes the gray aliens to look like, and that video looked kind of authentic to him. So
that's what Rick Doty said?
Yeah, Rick Doty said that.
That's exactly why I don't like that video. I mean, among many things. Yeah. No, I do.
I think the chat will love that tidbit,
interesting.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you guys. Well, we've gone over about 15 minutes. It was a killer show. Thank you all so much who joined us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the channel. Check out our Patreon. It's a great way to support the show. We are a public access channel. We're supported by viewers like you. So any donations obviously help toward keeping the lights on here. So truly appreciated. Thank you to Artemis Prime for moderating the chats and reading our poll of the day. Thank you to Tina Tomaszewski, another moderator in the chat. Thank you, ladies, so damn much. Want to say thank you to UFO Jane. Please do me a favor, Jane. Stick around after the show. I've got some questions for you once we pop off. I want to say thank you to Rather Be Squidding. Thank you for the help of the first half of the show, Rather. You're the man. And Michael Mataluni, our co-host here. You guys check out the website, www.thebigphonehome.com. Share it. Let's get this thing trending. And if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. We will try and answer any questions you guys have. Check out the merch store. Check out all the links in the description below. We've got a show tomorrow on Singularity Lab at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So noon instead of our normal
Pacific,
4 p.m.
through
because
Eastern.
our guest is from Europe. So we're accommodating that time. Go
David
for it.
Hambling, Swarm Troopers, How Small Drones Will Take Over the World.
Great conversation. It's very relevant to what we were talking about today. And then also on Friday, we've got Jay from Project Unity. That's going to be a very fun discussion. Rather will be gone Friday, so unfortunately Rather won't be here, but he will be here in spirit. Until next time, you guys, that's it. Thank you so damn much for coming to check us out, and we'll see you later.
Happy birthday, brother.
Oh, thanks, man.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Jane, now you say happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday! I'm so sorry.
I'm just messing with you, girl. I'm just messing with you. All right, guys, we appreciate it. We'll see you soon. Peace.